Welcome to the Green Wave Coaches Show with Gallatin football head coach Michael Stroup and Gallatin News sports editor Blaine Kellar. The Green Wave Coaches Show is brought to you by Tennessee Ace Hardware. Football season is grilling season. Stop by Tennessee Ace Hardware today and check out our large selection of Big Green Egg grills. The Larry Maynard Agency. Give Allstate agent Larry Maynard a call today for all your insurance needs. Macon Bank and Trust. For over 100 years, Macon Bank and Trust has offered a true hometown banking experience to help you meet your financial goals. Dairy Berries Heat and Air. Dairy Berries has been voted Sumner County's best heat and air for the past 8 years. For outstanding service, give us a call today. And the Tennessee Highway Safety Office. Remember, fans don't let fans drive drunk. Now, here are Coach Michael Stroup and Blaine Kellar.
After a week off, the Green Wave Coaches Show is back, brought to you by Main Street Media Television and the Gallatin News. Sumner County Sports editor Blaine Kellar. He, as always, is Gallatin football coach Michael Stroup. Back from a bye week for the Green Wave and fall break for Sumner County Schools. As we kick off this week's show, Coach, just wanted to see how your time away was, what all you got to do, and maybe spending some time away from the nitty-gritty and the grind of high school football. And were you anxious to get back at all?
Yeah. We got back, and I think we got back on Wednesday. Went back home, got to see some family, spend some time with them, and then, my wife would say I probably didn't spend a whole lot of time from football, just watching film the whole time I was there. But yeah, I got back on Wednesday. We got the kids back together on Thursday and Friday. Had some practices about midday, and yeah, it was good to get back around the kids.
Well, we'll recap 2 weeks ago's home game against Cookeville in a moment. In the second half of this week's show, we'll talk about this week's huge road game, Region Tilt at Wilson Central. But first, I wanted to take you back to Sunday Night Football, Coach. San Francisco 49ers facing off against the Dallas Cowboys. And in the second half of that game, Gallatin running back and former Georgia Tech running back Jordan Mason breaks free for a 26-yard touchdown run. And I know that was a couple regimes ago, of course, this being your first year at Gallatin, but for a community like this to have somebody score their second NFL touchdown in such a really big primetime moment, what does that kind of do for a community and a football program?
Well, I think everybody in Gallatin's proud of Mason. When I first got here, I think he was here for a basketball game. We tried to meet up, but we just couldn't. We couldn't cross paths. But from what I hear from all the administration and the teachers here, Mason was a class act guy and represented the Green Wave really well. And going on to Georgia Tech and doing those things, there's a lot of kids that look up to Mason around here, and for him to go out there on a Sunday night game and a big game and provide a little spark for his team here and there, man, that's great. And we're proud of him.
One interesting thing out of that press conference with 49ers coach Kyle Shanahan, he said that Christian McCaffrey was saying that entire second half, I just need to break one. And as soon as he got out of the game and Jordan Mason came in, Jordan breaks one for the 26-yard score. Just such a cool moment just to watch from the Sumner County side of things. But now, Coach, let's jump into last week's game, 2 weeks ago's game, throwing me off with fall break here. But 26-23 loss against Cookeville, and we talked a little bit after that home game, but now that you've kind of had a week or so to process it and are looking past that game, curious what the message was to the team throughout, maybe the next couple of days once you got back about that one. Do you just kind of flush it, or do you kind of take some of the things away and try to correct them going into the last portion of the season?
Well, I think you try to get back on path and move forward as fast as you can, but you also got to correct your mistakes and the things that didn't go well for us. And, there are some instances in the game that, we could have done a better job at, whether it was, coaching from the sideline or execution on the field. We had a pivotal spot down there on a 4th and 2, and we could have got 3 points there, but I elected to go for it, and we came up short, and then, you turn around and, we've got 3 turnovers on offense, and they were big turnovers and big moments, and we were all the turnovers came on our side of the field, and we were getting ready to score. And then defensively, we just could not find a way to get off the field. And all those things rolled up into one, just, the 3-point loss. And, but that's the learning curve for everybody, and how you build a program, and you go through tough losses like that, because I felt like that was one we should have won, and I think everybody else would agree with that. But when you have a young team, and when I say young, experience-wise, and trying to do things the right way, you'll have moments like that. We just got to build upon it, and I always tell the kids, good Lord put eyes in front of your head for a reason. Let's correct the mistakes, but let's go forward and let's get better.
Gallatin led 9-0 in the early goings there of a safety and a touchdown run by Zakine Brinkley, if I'm remembering correctly. And at the end of that first quarter, 23-7. Just echoing what you said there, Coach, it seems like there wasn't one specific aspect that led to you all not scoring for the remainder of that game.
Well, I mean, you got instances where, defensively we had an interception in the end zone, and then the offensive player just kind of wanted it more, and ripped it out of our players' hands, and then we got caught looking with our eyes in the backfield with a corner, and they hit us with a go route over there, a hitch and go, and caught that for a touchdown. And then we got, we had 2 fumbles on offense, both of them attributed to the quarterback. He lost control of the ball once, trying to throw it, and the ball was wet. It doesn't matter, but and then at the end of the game there, mishap in the snap right there that was hitting the face mask. But you grow from that, and those things will make you better, kind of make you work harder. So we've got to go back and get better at those things. But yeah, we were up 23-7. I mean, we had 48 snaps for 461 yards. So it's not like we ran up against a brick wall. We shot ourselves in the foot offensively. And you take those 3 turnovers away, and that's 21 points right there. So, we take care of the football offensively, and then, I think we'll probably put ourselves in a better situation.
Did it feel uncharacteristic? 3 turnovers, the interception, 2 lost fumbles. That was the most you guys had in a game all season.
Well, it is, and it's again, you don't want to go out there and turn the ball over. But when you've got a kid out there that's a young kid that is 15 years old, and sometimes he doesn't play like a 15-year-old, but they're gonna make mistakes. And he was as tough on himself as I've probably ever seen him. As a matter of fact, after the game, he surrounded the guys, had the guys surround him in the middle of the field, and he said, y'all want to blame somebody, blame me. And that's pretty big for a 15-year-old to put that on his shoulders in front of everybody. But he's playing quarterback. You're going to get a lot of praise, you're going to get a lot of criticism, and you've got to learn how to take both of them. And so far, he's handled that pretty well this year.
How is that a step in his maturation a little bit? Not only coming in as a newcomer with you to this team, but stepping up in that leadership role, not just in the good moments, but in those bad moments as well.
Well, I think, I made the comment the other day to the coaching staff, he's been a backup quarterback for, 15 years. He's seen – he's been able to see some of the teams that we've been a part of, and the quarterbacks. He's sat in the film room since he was 6, and he's heard all the talks, and he's heard every imaginable talk you can think of. So he gets it. He knows, and he knows where it starts, and how the offense needs to look. But I think he's an old soul, always has been since he was a baby. He just he's a little old man's what they used to call him. So, I mean, he's very mature for his age. But as long as he can keep a level head and keep his teammates around him, their spirits up, then we'll be fine.
Coach, you mentioned that you just couldn't get off the field at times, and that, second quarter especially, you lead by 16 points, and sometimes I'm sure that feels like more than 2 possessions because you got 2 two-point attempts to convert if you're Cookeville. Did it feel like more of a gut punch whenever they converted both of those to tie it up before halftime?
Yeah, I just didn't think we came out with the physicality that we probably had the week before, and whatever that may be. I talked about the distractions all week, and we had a big win the week before, and then we're coming into homecoming, and I mean, it can be one of those things. It's a trap, and I'm not taking anything away from Cookeville. Cookeville did a well of a job, and their coaching staff and their players played their rear ends off, and they deserved it. But we've got to be able to, we also got to be able just to turn the page, and every week's a new week, and understand that every week has a new challenge. And it doesn't matter who you play or what their record is. You got to respect your opponent and put the best foot forward and give and play every Friday night like it's the Super Bowl. And that's the mentality we've got to have here, and that's the mentality we've got to practice with.
Yeah, on the flip side of that, though, you mentioned turning the page and moving on from this one, maybe, like I said, flushing it a little bit. When you come back from fall break, though, and you have a couple of days away from the team altogether, do you focus on some of those miscues and some of those errors that you guys had in that game, or do you just focus on the next one?
No, we came back and we kind of, we worked on, a lot more tackling, right, and running our feet through, and it's been a point of emphasis since Thursday. And, let's get people to the football defensively, and let's wrap up, run our feet, get them to the ground. And then, offensively, let's just, let's take care of the football, offensive philosophy is just put it in the hands of the players that can make plays for us. And offensive line wise, we came out yesterday and I thought we were a little, maybe a little soft. We were pretty good on Thursday and Friday, and then yesterday it wasn't as much clanging as I wanted it to be, and so we talked about that. So I look forward for us today, this afternoon practice, and getting after it.
Got a big game coming up against Wilson Central on the road this Friday. We're going to take a break on the Green Wave Coaches Show, and when we come back, give you a look into that huge region tilt. Stay tuned.
Macon Bank and Trust Company is a proud supporter of the Gallatin Green Wave. For over 100 years, Macon Bank and Trust has offered a true hometown banking experience to help you meet your financial goal. We are local people with local decision-making and ready to serve you.
Derryberry's Heat and Air has been proudly serving the Middle Tennessee area for over 35 years. We have been voted Sumner County's best heat and air company for the past 8 years. For outstanding service, call Derryberry's at 615-452-8121. Football season is grilling season. The Big Green Egg is the perfect grill for everyone, from the backyard cook to the world's most acclaimed chefs. Stop at Tennessee Ace Hardware today and check out our large selection of Big Green Egg grills. It's the perfect grill for any grilling need.
As an Allstate agent in Gallatin, Larry Maynard knows many local families. His knowledge and understanding of the people in this community helps him provide customers with outstanding service. Give Larry a call at 615-452-1500.
He shoots, and he scores!
Welcome back to the Green Wave Coaches Show, brought to you by our 4 great sponsors here in Gallatin, Gallatin News and Main Street Media Television. Coach, if we go back a couple of weeks, I know that I was kind of entranced in this idea of Gallatin maybe being in the hunt for a region championship before that Cookeville game, and you downplayed it a little bit, saying all that matters is that we get to the postseason. Mm-hmm. Now you're facing a game where you almost have to win it to make the postseason, so I guess how much more does that message get implied or sent along going into this week's game against Wilson Central?
Well, it's definitely a little bit more important now. And I told the kids yesterday at practice, we got 3 important weeks in front of us, but the most important week is this week. Mm-hmm. And if we go out there with the right focus and the right mindset and we'll take care of business, we'll be fine, but if we go out there and we're just kind of bouncing around in the middle of the ring, then, we're going to be in for a fight. So, we've got to do a really good job this week of understanding the assignment and going out there and executing.
You've preached that throughout this season you're trying to build a program, not a team. And then in the middle of the season, Gallatin has the opportunity to be a very good team while also building a strong program. And I think that's still a possibility through the rest of this season. So is there a sense of urgency coming off of the bye week, going through these last couple of region games, and even a game against Springfield mixed in between there?
Well, I think there is I don't know if you call it a sense of urgency. You still, I'm still looking for, character and dependability and kids making it to class on time, doing the right things in the classroom, things like that. So, I mean, there's a lot of things that, take place as far as, building a program and setting the tone for a great program. So, I mean, you have a lot of people that, maybe put more emphasis on playing time and all that other jazz. All I want to do is have kids show up and want to compete. And, I made a comment to them the other day in practice. If you're a kid that's sitting behind a starter and you think you can, be a starter, then you challenge him, you compete, and I'm for that week in, week out. And we'll come up with something, and whether it be one-on-ones or board drills or whatever it may be, I want to compete. But I think I also think that you got to get the kids back on track, and that's our goal this week, is to get back on track.
How much of all of that dives into consistency? When you go back a couple of weeks, you have the huge road win at Green Hill, and then you come out and perform like you did against Cookeville. And again, you give a lot of credit to Cookeville there, but you said that was one you felt like you could have won. So through the rest of this season, and maybe going through your tenure here at Gallatin, I mean, how important is consistency for you?
Well, I think consistency is important for everybody, and but when you're taking over a program like we are doing, you that's the one thing that's probably lacking in any program that has struggled, is consistency. And you got to get kids on the same page and take ownership, and and coaches as well. And I think we all do that. I think there's times where kids may point a finger here and there and blame this person or that person, and we had a discussion about that. We're Green Wave. We're going to lose as a team. We're going to win as a team, and it's not going to be because of any one person. And that's the message you got to send. So, if we can get those things in order and build that, then we're going to be fine. But it's a process now. It's not going to change overnight. So, I'm not, 20 years ago, I was probably I'd put the cart in front of the horse. But, I've been around a little bit now. So I kind of, these things take time.
Yeah, Friday's game against Wilson Central, another opportunity maybe to build toward that. And, of course, as we mentioned, if the Wildcats can win Friday, or if Gallatin can win Friday, they control their own destiny toward a fourth or third playoff spot in Region 6A. That's the second time I've done that this season. But in this game, Coach, is a pair of first-year head coaches with yourself and former Green Hill offensive coordinator Ben Kuhn. And I think it's a fair assessment to say that you all have had your players buy in at stints throughout this season and really committed to what you're trying to instill. And how have you maybe seen that in Wilson Central as well through what you've seen on film?
Yeah, I think they're a program on the rise. He does a really good job of formation in his kids and doing a really good job on defense as well. And I think it's just, you go in there and you got to establish weight room and conditioning and just building a culture, and that's what we're doing here as well. So, I think Coach over there at Wilson Central is doing a good job, and we'll have our hands full on Friday.
Coach, you close out the season at Wilson Central, at Springfield, against Lebanon. You could give a very basic answer here to this question, but if you wanted to expand on it a little more, what is the best case scenario for your Gallatin Green Wave through the last 3 games of the year?
Well, I think the best case scenario is we finish out with 3 straight wins.
Right.
And we're very capable of doing that. We've got a good enough nucleus on this team to be competitive against anybody on our schedule. But again, it takes a lot of discipline. It takes a lot of doing the right things and having the right attitudes. And when you win, everybody's happy. When you lose, then you kind of those attitudes kind of flare up a little bit. So we've got to we just got to coach our kids and do a good job during practice of getting them to get to the football and execute the plays, because at the end of the day, football is pretty simple. I think coaches sometimes get too much credit. I've said this plenty of times. I've never made a tackle, or I've never ran a football or anything since I started coaching. The kids are out there, and they execute it. You got play callers, which is what we do, but then you got guys that need to execute it, and that's what they do. So when we make a great play defensively, it's not the defensive staff that did that; it's those kids out there, right? But again, on the same token, when we make a bad play, the shoe's got to be on the same foot sometimes, and that's where we go back and look at it and say, hey, what could we have done better as a coaching staff? What could we have done better with this kid here? And then we just take it over to practice and try to improve on it.
For you, maybe your assistant coaches, your coaching staff, and your players, I'm sure it would have been a lot better to go into the off week with a win. But coming off of that Cookeville game and going into Wilson Central now, do you feel like it was a good reset for your guys?
There's 2 parts to that question, probably, or 2 answers I can give. One of them would be you've got to, you're building a program, and you got to know how to win. And, do we know how to win yet? I don't know. I don't know if we do, but do we know how to compete? Yes. Boy, we have competed in every game, and that's what I kind of go back and look. Do we know how to compete? And we do. We just got to translate that and how we got to finish it. You get up 23-7 on somebody, then we've got to go put our foot on their throat. We can't let them hang around. And there's been a couple instances this year where that's happened to us. We jump out on station camp, and then we let them back in the game. We just got to do a really good job of getting these kids, in the right position, doing the right things for us to be successful on Friday night.
It's a nice special appearance from a little fly here during the second half of this show. Yeah. Coach Stroup did a good job of not swatting it away. I know it landed on my mic a couple of times. So great stuff going into this Wilson Central game. We'll take one more break here on the Green Wave Coaches Show. And when we come back, give you one fun question with Coach Stroup. Stay tuned.
As an Allstate agent in Gallatin, Larry Maynard knows many local families. His knowledge and understanding of the people in this community helps him provide customers with outstanding service. Give Larry a call at 615-452-1500.
Football season is grilling season. The Big Green Egg is the perfect grill for everyone. From the backyard cook to the world's most acclaimed chefs. Stop at Tennessee Ace Hardware today and check out our large selection of Big Green Egg grills. It's the perfect grill for any grilling need. Dairy Berry's Heat and Air has been proudly serving the Middle Tennessee area for over 35 years. We have been voted Sumner County's best heat and air company for the past 8 years. For outstanding service, call Dairy Berry's at 615-452-8121.
Macon Bank and Trust Company is a proud supporter of the Gallatin Green Wave. For over 100 years, Macon Bank and Trust has offered a true hometown banking experience to help you meet your financial goal. We are local people with local decision-making and ready to serve you.
Watch it! Did that guy even see that girl on her bike?
Just like looking for other cars before switching lanes, drivers should keep their eyes out for those traveling on bikes. When a crash occurs between a vehicle and a bike, it's the cyclist who is most likely to be injured. Give cyclists room and do not pass too closely. Riders have the same rights and responsibilities as those behind the wheel.
Be aware, be alert. Brought to you by THSO, the Tennessee Highway Safety Office.
Wrapping up the Green Wave Coaches Show with one fun question. Really multiple fun questions here. It's a 6-parter, 5-parter, I don't know. Coach, we're going to see how you rate certain vacation destinations coming off of fall break. You mentioned that you got a little while to spend with some family there. So over fall break, and some people go to the beach. Other people stay at home, have a staycation. Wanted to see, based off of these travel destinations, are they overrated, underrated, or properly rated? We'll start with a week at the beach.
Properly rated, I guess. We like to spend a little time at Ponce Inlet. That's our favorite destination. There's plenty of room. We do the 30A thing, but 30A is probably overrated for me.
Okay.
Just way too many people for me. So, you kind of go to a spot where you can breathe.
Took me a long time to figure out what those 30A bumper stickers were.
Yeah, me too.
I had no clue what. I eventually had to find somebody who had it and asked them.
Right.
But another nautical destination here. How about a cruise?
Overrated. Pirates. I don't like pirates, so I'm not getting on a boat and going on a cruise. You ever seen Pirates?
Like Pirates of the Caribbean, or like
Pirates.
Actual pirates?
Yeah, Pirates of the Caribbean.
Oh yeah,
They're
yeah.
out there. I'm not going out there.
Traveling abroad, going to a different country. For
I
a
watched
trip.
National Lampoon's Vacation, European Vacation. That was fun. Rome, stuff like that. I could do that. I'm a history guy. I could do that.
Have you traveled abroad before?
Never.
Never.
No. Don't even have a passport. So, no.
Expedition. You like Expedition Unknown?
I love it.
I don't know what that is, but I think that
Yeah.
would, based off the title, that would imply some traveling abroad, right?
Yeah, I love it. But I also like my Second Amendment rights, too, so I don't know how those would go over there.
Going to a place, a city, with the sole intent of seeing a football game.
Going to a football game?
Yeah, you'll be there for a couple days, I'd say.
Yeah.
But you're just going.
I'm out.
You don't want to be a part of it.
No, but before they, I'm old enough where they didn't televise every game. Now, before they televised every game, I'd be in for it, right? But now they got every game televised, and a 3-hour game turns into a 5.5-hour spectacle. And sitting in the bleachers, that's something I haven't mastered. So, maybe if it was a press box or a suite, you can kind of relax. Air conditioning. If I got maybe that, I could do that. So, but yeah, I don't know, parking and all that stuff. It would annoy me.
Last one for you here: hiking. Going somewhere just to hike and blaze trails across multiple parks and things like that.
I would like to go out west and see some of those scenes out there. That's always been a kind of a bucket list of mine to do. Unfortunately, I'm married to a lady that likes the ocean, so her vote overrules mine a lot.
Smart man.
Yeah.
Shout out to my brother, who is getting married at the end of this month, and his honeymoon is solely hiking in Idaho and that area in the West. So
wow.
That was my inspiration on the last question there. But thank you so much for tuning in to another edition of the Green Wave Coaches Show. Best of luck to the Green Wave at Wilson Central this Friday, and we'll see you next week as we look forward to a game at Springfield.
You've been watching the Green Wave Coaches Show with Gallatin football head coach Michael Stroup and Gallatin News sports editor Blaine Kellar. The Green Wave Coaches Show is brought to you by Tennessee Ace Hardware, the Larry Maynard Agency, Macon Bank and Trust, Derryberry's Heat and Air, and the Tennessee Highway Safety Office.